Ellie Zarrabian, host of From Chaos to Connection, growing from pain toward community. Are you ready to make the most of your challenges while moving ahead with your dreams? Do you want your spiritual growth to be part of your healing while living your life with purpose? On Chaos to Connection, you will find resources to transform your difficulties into connections with others. Change is achievable. Dr. Ellie helps you make change both within and in the world. Learn to heal past traumas, become more self-assured, and take action in the world. No matter your spiritual background or cultural heritage, we will work together to transform pain and trauma to community and well-being. You can make this world a better place, starting with yourself. From Chaos to Connection starts now.
Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Ellie Zarrabian, and this is my show From Chaos to Connection. If you're interested in the topic of personal growth and building better relationships at home and out in the world, then you're definitely in the right place. In my last episode, I talked about building better relationships at home. And today, I'd like to talk to you about building better relationships at work. Again, I know that this is a very broad topic and there's so much to discuss and cover, but because our time together is very limited, I can only tackle one small but important area at a time. Last time, I will also leave more room at the end of the talk in case you have any questions or you want to call in and say hi and hello. I feel that given with all that's going on in the world, it's even more crucial to create a safe space for us to connect and interact more organically and with each other. So if you feel inclined to join me live, please feel free to either call the number on the screen or text your message in the chat box, and I will be happy to respond. If you are from a different time zone and you're not able to tune in live, know that you can always message me privately and I will be happy to respond at a later time. Okay, so to briefly recap what I discussed in my last episode, I had mentioned that as a result of my own upbringing and some of the challenges that I faced growing up, I became very interested early on in learning about people and their relationships. Specifically, I was interested in learning about why people have conflict with each other. And because of that interest, I must have spent the majority of my adult life studying relationships and helping individuals, couples, and families get along better and cultivate more love and peace inside the home. Also, as a result of my own diverse background and living in different parts of the world, I learned very early on how to get along with people of different cultures, races, and religions. And learning and engaging with people of different backgrounds has enabled me to create a very diverse practice where I work, teach, and counsel individuals from all walks of life. In my talk, I shared that the most common issue I see amongst people, regardless of their background, is that people are not born knowing how to have healthy, loving, caring, and successful relationships inside or outside the home. I attributed this problem to a lack of emotional maturity, which stems from lack of proper parenting. Given that most people have not been taught about healthy relationships before having children, it's no wonder that many of the unhealthy dynamics get passed down from generation to generation. Counseling, for sure, is one way to offer people the opportunity to learn more about themselves, to turn their life around, learn new skills and tools, and to engage more effectively both at home and out in the world. Like the home environment, people often come into counseling because they are dissatisfied with their jobs or the environment they work in. Bosses and managers complain about their employees, and employees complain about their bosses, and everyone is unhappy, yet they feel stuck at their job for various reasons and don't quite know how to make their situation work better. It's very common that the work environment that you find yourself in resembles the same emotional climate as the home environment you grew up in. That's because we often replicate the same relationships or dynamics that we've had at home while growing up with our bosses and managers at work. For example, take a look at your own work situation currently. If you are employed and unhappy at work, take an inventory about how you feel about the people you work with or the people you work for, and then compare it to how you felt about the people who ran your household while growing up. Did you grow up with an authoritative figure that you didn't like much or respect? What are some of the similarities with your current boss or coworkers? You see, for psychologists who study human behavior and interaction, this finding is not a surprise. After all, we realize that our early childhood experiences and upbringing in our formative years have created and shaped the blueprint for how we see and engage with the world. That's why those of us who've had difficulty in childhood often end up having difficulty in our adult relationships as well. So, how do we address this issue at work? Well, that's why many individuals seek counseling. And the information I'm about to give you today is only just the tip of the iceberg, because this is an extensive topic and one that I cannot cover in just one session. But my hope for today is that the topic will inspire you to want to learn more. I have an extensive list of books which I'm happy to recommend, so please don't hesitate to ask. Well, it's true that people who work 40 hours or more during the week outside the home are actually spending more time at work with coworkers than they are with their family members at home. So it becomes really crucial that we learn to have better relationships at work too, right? We certainly don't want to have a stressful work environment and then come home to a stressful family environment. So, learning how to have better relationships at home and in the workplace only improves the quality of our life while maintaining a healthy mental and emotional state of mind. I feel very lucky that over the years, I've had the opportunity to work with many people in the positions of being both the employers and the employees. And over the years, I have carefully observed and studied relationships both at home and in the workplace. And just like how I help my couples reimagine the kind of relationship they want to have with their partner, I do the same with people and their work environment. So, together, we work on cultivating an atmosphere of emotional intelligence, a positive mindset where growth can happen, and the individual can build and capitalize on their strengths rather than weaknesses. So, you may ask, what is the problem? Why are so many people struggling with work? Well, research shows that unlike our parents' and grandparents' generation, where people stayed at their jobs for 20, 30 years and then retired with a nice retirement package and a wonderful send off party, most people today change jobs and careers many times over. In fact, I believe statistically, people tend to change jobs every 3 to 5 years and careers every 7 to 9 years during their working years. So, in this rapid, multifaceted, and diverse workforce, the question then becomes, how do we foster a sense of camaraderie, growth, and commitment to excellence when people don't stay at a job for too long? A high turnover rate does not do much good for companies or the employees. Think of it as though it's a family system. If people are unhappy, disgruntled, and find no meaning or joy in their day-to-day interaction with their family members, what is the likelihood that they will stick around and participate with the family? Not very likely, right? Same is true for the work environment. Now, what if a person can't grow at home? There's no room to have their opinion or to make their own choices because someone else in the family is dictating everything for them. Well, same thing. It's true that the work environment works the same way. People who can't grow or be part of the decision-making process will eventually move on. So, to remedy this situation, bosses often believe that if they pay better salaries or offer a better and more comprehensive benefits package or stock options, people would want to stay longer and do good work. Well, if that was the case, then we would not be having or seeing this revolving door trend. However, initially, people are happy and do show enthusiasm about those better job offers. But it's only a matter of time before their interests wane and their productivity decreases, and they end up either being let go of or they move on. And of course, the pandemic and remote working did not help this situation either. In fact, it's even more complicated these days. Now, employers are scrambling to get people to return to the office while keeping the talent happy in their companies. So, how do we build better relationships at work with all these forces at play? Again, research shows that people have two competing needs at work. And if a company meets both of those needs for their employees, chances are they will get a more dedicated, committed, and hardworking team. The two competing forces in people are called extrinsic or external needs and intrinsic or internal needs. Extrinsic motivation is about the external needs that help people stay afloat in life. So the good salary, the benefits package, the vacation perks, the yearly commission or bonuses, those are all extrinsic motivators. However, that's just half the equation. The other is intrinsic, which is the need to feel fulfilled without external reward, but rather inner rewards, like feeling competent at a job, feeling autonomous, meaning you have control over the decision-making process, or that your feedback and input matters, and that you're seen and recognized for your contributions. In the end, it's about feeling of relatedness, meaning that who you are matters to the company, that you're not dispensable, but rather the company values you. This is similar to what I discussed last week about having the need to be seen and cared for in the home environment. Intrinsic motivation is related to emotional intelligence, or about knowing yourself, knowing what those inner needs are, and how you can meet those needs, both at home and at work. It's similar to having to invest in building one's emotional bank account, but here it's in the work environment. Okay, so let's take a short break here. And when we return, I will be giving you an example of a client I worked with for you to see how she was able to meet her intrinsic needs at work successfully. So see you soon. Okay, welcome back. So I thought I'd spend the second half of the show giving you an example of an individual I worked with, and leave a little bit of room at the end in case you call in or send me a message. So let me jump in and talk to you about a client who came to see me a while ago, and she was having difficulty with work, staying motivated at work, even though she was getting paid a very high salary. So she's an attorney. She was in her late 20s when she came in, and she was complaining that she had absolutely no time for her personal life because her work life had taken over 100% of her life. Now, this was a young woman. She was single, and she wanted to go out and meet potential partners. She wanted to get married and settle down, but she couldn't because the job just took over her life. So she complained that the boss that she worked for was very demanding and continuously wanted her to be on the alert for tasks and projects. So even on the weekends, she had to be on alert. And my client was worn out mentally and emotionally and feeling depressed, and she could barely get herself to work every day. She was feeling so depleted um, that she didn't know what to do, but she also felt very stuck because the job was very prestigious. She worked for a very prestigious firm and her salary was very high. So she didn't want to quit, but she was stuck because she hated the hours that she worked. So here you can see that her extrinsic needs or external needs were met with a high salary, benefits package, hefty yearly bonus, but none of her intrinsic needs were met. Okay. So what happens is most people who don't know about the intrinsic versus the extrinsic look at her and they say, wow, she should be so happy. What's wrong with her? She has this amazing career. She makes a lot of money. She works for this prestigious law firm. What's her problem? But you see, now you understand that the extrinsic motivation is not enough. Okay, we need to have the internal needs met as well. Okay, so what happened was, I was just going to say that this is very common. I get a lot of, in fact, attorneys who come in with the same issue. Make good money, good status, high status, but very unhappy. So let's see. We ended up spending a lot of time initially managing her stress level. And during that process, we uncovered what were her most important inner values that she felt she needed in order to stay motivated at her job and to actually be happier. And her needs came down to wanting to be able to talk more candidly with her boss regarding her work-life balance. Okay, so this met her need for being seen and mattering. And I talked about that before, that people need to be seen and feel that they matter. She wanted her boss to have empathy for her situation and be willing to work with her to create a more workable work situation. So this addressed her need for relatedness, feeling that you can relate and others can relate to you. And finally, be able to make more important contributions rather than just acting like the boss's secretary, because she was, in fact, an attorney. So she wanted more. She wanted to grow and she wanted to have more responsibility at work. So I'm happy to say that with some work and effort and guidance, she was able to eventually go in and face her boss and share what was on her mind. She was able to ask for what she needed and was actually met with positivity. Her boss was very fond of her and valued her at work, even though she never said that to her. And did not want her to be unhappy and eventually quit. So they were able to work things out between them, create a more balanced relationship, and even make some changes in the office with how things were being run. So she was able to impact not only her own life, but actually the culture of the work environment. So if you feel inclined to do a little homework this week, how about after this podcast is over, take some time to sit down and write down a list of what your intrinsic values are. Think about what are some of the most important inner values that you, if you had in your life at work, would make you a lot happier and a lot happier just generally in the world. What's missing? Create that list for yourself. That's the process of cultivating more emotional intelligence in yourself. Again, which is about the process of getting to know yourself, what your needs are, and then gradually putting those needs out into the environment. This is how you start to build better relationships at work. It starts with you becoming more clear about your own inner needs and then working them towards meeting those needs in the environment. Of course, if you could use some help along the way, you can always reach out and I'll be happy to assist you in the process. Okay, so this concludes our talk for today. I hope you have enjoyed today's topic on building better relationships at work. Be sure to tune in 2 weeks for our 5th episode. I'm Dr. Ellie Zarrabian, and this is the Transformation Network from Chaos to Connection.
You have been listening to Dr. Ellie Zarrabian, host of From Chaos to Connection. Tune in every second and fourth Monday at 2 p.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com for more resources and tools to help with healing on your journey of life. You can impact the globe in the most powerful way possible. Whatever your spiritual background and cultural heritage is, you can transform pain and trauma into building community and connection. Join Dr. Ellie in identifying what you need to heal within and in our world. For more information, visit centeronpeace.com. That's centeronpeace.com.